I just want to invest in people that really want to be the best that they can be. Hello, everyone. It's Todd Scrima with another We Got This video about business. And today we're talking about sales and how to get more sales and one concept on how to grow that. You know, the purpose of this podcast is to shortcut our learning by learning from others. And I'm like the best copier in the world. I actually had someone tell me that recently this week. They're like, Todd, you're the best copier I've ever seen. I've built my whole career on copying other people. And so that's the concept that we're doing this. I happen to have my good friend Jacek on here. Jacek Gillispie works for Summit, and he's up in Washington, and he's been in the business 8 years, been with Summit 5.5 years. You'll hear some of his story, but he's literally, you know, since starting working on this and starting working at Summit, his income's probably gone up 5 times. I mean, I don't want to over exaggerate, but it's a lot. And he's a very good earner. And so I like bringing authentic people on who are really working on this stuff that can share some stories and share some context. So that's the whole purpose of this stuff. Let's dig into this concept. So this concept was introduced to me in my old coaching business. And it was we've probably been working on this for maybe, I'm guessing 15 years. And the basic concept is, it's called accounts pyramid. And the idea is how do we get what we call top 50 clients? And I'm going to generalize this because this one is built specific for the mortgage business, but you could use it in any industry. And I'll give you some stories behind that. But the idea is we've got top 50 clients that we do business with, and you want to stick a number to it. The number that we use in mortgages, hey, we closed at least 3 transactions because of this client's referrals. Then the next step up is what we call accounts. Accounts is we closed at least four transactions based on this client's referrals. And then channel accounts are the big, or sometimes we call them whale accounts. These are big accounts. And we've done 12 or more transactions in the last 12 months because of these person's referrals. You know, in the mortgage business, this is like a big account might be a home builder, or it might be a big real estate team. They sell 60 homes a year, and we've done 20 of them. That's how that translates. But let me just, for context purposes, talk about some, not consulting, but as a friend of mine owns a dry cleaning business, and we are friends. Our kids go to school together. We go fishing every once in a while. We play golf every once in a while. And I'm talking to this gentleman, and he just seemed kind of down in the dumps. I'm dropping off my dry cleaning, and I said, hey, what's going on? And he was suffering through COVID times with his dry cleaning. And I said, hey, I'm not doing anything tonight. Why don't you stop by for a beer and we'll chat about your business? But I said, bring your profit and loss, bring your accounts pyramid, your list of clients, bring all that stuff so that we got something real to talk about. So he comes over around 6, we have a beer, and I just start asking questions. And I'll paraphrase the conversation. This gentleman, a successful dry cleaning business, has 4,000 accounts, 4,000. However, his average bill rate per account was very low, literally like $12 a month. And so he actually had good tracking. And so we looked at his CRM where he tracks all of his biggest accounts. We found that his top 200 accounts made up 45% of his total revenue. And so I went to him and I said, look, people like me I'm still getting a bunch of dry cleaning done because I'm still going to the office and I'm dressing up every day. And some people aren't, right? So your general business is down, but let's focus on targeted clients and let's offer a little bit more higher level of service level, and really focus on these accounts. And let's also find more of them. And so we did that, and it's been very successful. All we did is we used a concept like this accounts pyramid to find out where's our revenue really coming from, and how much revenue is it that they're bringing in. And so that's how it might relate to a different business. Giving another example, because I entertain a lot, I go to restaurants. And usually when I go to restaurants with someone like Jacek, and I'm bringing 5 or 8 other people, and the bill's $1,000, $2,000, okay? That restaurant would want to know that, hey, there's certain clients that come in once a month and spend $2,000 on dinner, right? It's fine that I've got 2 people that come in every other month and spend $50, but I really want to pay attention to Todd because he's spending $2,000 a month at my restaurant. And if I wanted to build a business around that, maybe I would call those big clients. Maybe the owner would call me every 2 months and just say, hey, Todd, I hope to see you again soon. I want you to know I got free desserts the next time you come in, or, something nice to say thank you. Or maybe he sends me a thank you card or something like that. And it would be more focus on building your accounts. I'll tell you another story. Well, actually, let me ask Jacek, because we were chit-chatting just before this. So Jacek, how do you relate accounts pyramid to your business? Because again, you've gone up 5-6 times in income over the last 5 years. And I assume that's because you got more accounts.
Yeah. So when I first started at Summit, I didn't really have any accounts. I was just kind of going everywhere to try to get business, taking it wherever it came from. And then with coaching and everything, we decide, we nail it down to, okay, let's focus on these specific areas. And accounts in general are kind of one of the things that we focus on, making relationship with realtors and who are our clients and getting more business out of them. So when I started here 5 years ago, I didn't have a single account. I didn't have anybody who sent me 4 or more closed transactions per year. For me, over the last 5 years, we've grown that to where I remember the very first, her name was Leslie, my very first agent who became an account. And I remember just spending all this time with her, as much time as I could, because she was, it was the first person to regularly send me business. And then eventually we've grown that to where we have, I did some research preparing for this. And I think I counted that we have 11 accounts and 2 channels. So that's a big portion of our business right there.
Yeah. So you think about it, Jacek in 5 years roughly, went from not knowing where his business was coming from at all, not having any regular accounts, to now he has 12 or 13, and he's waking up in January saying, I'm probably, more than likely going to close 60 or 80 transactions just from these people I already do business with. And that's building a business. And that's what this is about. Let me just visually show you this form. I'm sure we'll stick this on the website. But here's what the form actually looks like that we use. We've got prospects down here. So that would be your target list, right? People that fit your criteria of who you're going after. And that use the dry cleaning analogy. We started saying, hey, these prospects for him would be probably other professionals and business owners that he could go after that are spending $200, $300, $400 a month in dry cleaning. Okay. Much different than his average client that was spending $12 a month on dry cleaning. Okay. Then you've got your top 50. Okay. So you want to define it. Our definition is they've sent you at least 3 referrals, whether they've closed or not. So these are people that are liking you. They've sent you some clients, and we want to groom them into accounts, right? We want to spend some time on them. Now your accounts, again, our definition in the mortgage business is we've done at least 4 transactions with them. And so we want to groom them and pay a lot of attention to them. So these are people like on your accounts list, these are people that you see every month, right? You're calling them on their birthday. You're sending them a gift on their birthday. If you have a Halloween party at your house, you're inviting them to your Halloween party. That's this level, okay? Maybe you go on vacation with them. Maybe you go dinner every other month with you and your spouses to dinner, right? You're not only befriending them, but you're paying a lot of attention to them, and you're trying to get more and more of their business, right? And then channel accounts. These are the big accounts. Again, you got to define it for your business, but our definition is that you've closed 12 or more transactions with them in the previous 12 months, right? So that's what it looks like, and you literally play fill in the blanks once you have your definitions, okay? I'll tell you a story. I've had a great career, and I don't have many regrets, but there's things I would do different. And one of the things that we coach on now, but I didn't early in my career, I didn't act this way, is I would be doing a lot of business, in my case with a builder or a realtor, but I didn't go to the birthday parties, and I didn't often invite them to my parties. When I went to concerts, I wouldn't buy it didn't occur to me to buy 4 extra tickets and invite some clients. So fast forward today, now 28 years in this business, or 29 years. And every single time I buy concert tickets, I'm buying 4 extras. Sometimes I'm buying 10 extras. If Jacek and I went on a golf outing, I do with my group of guys that work for me and guys that like to play golf, and I invite them all on a golf trip once a year. Jacek made it this year. We hung out for 3 days in Sun River and played golf and drank beer and barbecued. So now I do a lot of that. And here's my reckoning, and I say this out loud because I think there is like I had in the past, there's a thought process that, hey, business is business and personal is personal, and never the two shall mix. And now it's the total opposite for me. When you're doing business with people that you enjoy, you want to call them on their birthday. I called one of my branch managers this morning for his birthday, and he's like, hey, thanks for calling. We chatted for a little bit, and it's just, I said some nice things and really appreciated him. It's like, it's fun to do that. It makes business fun. It makes it more relational. It makes it more meaningful. I actually, going one step further this year, hired a company that I have a final conference call with tomorrow. And I said, hey, here's my budget. I want to take 10 couples 4 different times to super cool events. Like, I don't know what that is. It could be hot air ballooning over Aspen, or going to see the Indy 500, or going to a football, or maybe it's a business event. I'm putting on a business event that I paid $40,000 for 30 of my people to go with me to a 3-day class. That's about getting better in communication and stuff like that. I'm very excited about it. But now I probably shouldn't have used that example, because what people heard was, I don't have 40 grand to spend on that. It doesn't have to be big stuff. So Jacek, give me some examples of what you do with these accounts and these channel accounts that you have. What are a few things that you do on a regular basis to help that relationship along?
Well, I think that one of the things you said earlier too, it goes back to one of the concepts in the book that we follow a lot, which is raving fans, of picking your clients, right? You get to kind of pick who you want to work with, right? So I do things like, and if you don't enjoy being friends with them, you probably shouldn't make them an account. You know what I mean? You shouldn't pursue that relationship, because it'll end up being bad down the road, right? So, I mean, we do, I'm in Washington, and I have season tickets to the Huskies. So we go to Husky football games. I have, every year I buy 4 tickets instead of 1 or 2, because I know that I'm going to take people, right? And I just bring people. I'm going to a comedy show in Seattle next weekend, next Friday, watching Tom Segura. So I bought 6 tickets to that. So I'll bring myself and maybe my wife, and then 4 other people, either 2 other couples, or a couple and 2 other people. So, and that doesn't always realtors, but I often bring realtors to those kinds of events. Just do regular life with them. Whenever we have a big barbecue at the house, whenever we have a leveraged event or an event at our office, we're inviting those people and doing life with them.
Yeah, those are great examples. And is it probably more fun, instead of just you and your wife going to a Huskies game, to bring another cool couple?
Yeah, for sure.
More fun, like it's more fun, right? Yeah. So really good concepts. I love that. I want to throw something else at you guys. Again, when I started in the business, I didn't have the concept of target marketing. I didn't have the concept of accounts pyramid. So what I did is I tried to be everybody's friend. I tried to have 50 accounts. And the problem was, not only did I pick the wrong ones oftentimes because I didn't do any research, I didn't have any target market, I didn't have any definition, but I'm spread too thin. Mm-hmm. And so what happened to me was, when I got this concept, it made all the difference, because I realized that with 10 or 15 accounts, I really focused on them, I could do more business than I could with 60 accounts that I'm barely touching and I'm barely, in contact with. And I'm just expecting them to send me business because I'm a cool loan officer. And that also, it has to do with work-life balance, and it has to do with not being exhausted. I talked to one great originator salesperson recently, and he says, Todd, my business is pretty simple. I've got all these past clients that I've done for 20 years. So here's what I do for them. I've got 5 realtor accounts that I service, and they're big. And I've got 1 big builder. And I do 240 loans a year.
Wow.
And that's where they come from. And I'm like, I'm like, okay, this guy, has all these past clients. He has his top 50. He throws some parties a couple times a year for him. He mails them stuff every month and calls the top 50 every 2 months. Okay, cool. Basic. Dealing with 6 other clients total. Pretty easy, right? He's not exhausted. He's making tons of money, and he's doing it in a very controlled environment. And he's doing it with people that he loves to deal with every single day. I happen to know almost all of his clients, and they're super cool people. They're people that I would want to hang out with. They're people that I would want to get a cell phone call from. So I got another story for you. So I love stories when they support what you're talking about. Years ago, I went to this church. This church was in Sacramento called Center of Praise. And, I like giving money to the church, and I got invited they heard I was a businessman and a business consultant. And so they invited me to be on their finance board. And so I did this accounts pyramid, like second meeting. I'm like, hey, I need to work with accounting to figure this out. So here were the numbers. I'll never forget this. 3,000 members of the church that had given money in the last 12 months. Jacek, just take a guess what the average giving was per month of those 3,000 people.
Average, $100 a month.
$3 a month.
Oh, okay.
$3 a month. So interesting, when we broke it down, there was 150 members that made up 65% of their budget. 150 members made up 65% of their total revenue a year. So 150 great tithers, right? People that were given $1,000, $2,000. One guy was given $4,000 a month. So they had 150. So all we did is we went to those 150 and we started a special program of recognition. That's all we did. And the giving went through the roof. I did get in trouble because I stood up on the pulpit giving a finance update one Sunday, and I kind of reamed the congregation saying, hey, I know some of you can't give, but some of you are just flat out stingy. And I was pretty direct about it. And I told them we were averaging $3.20 per person per month. And, it just, all the programs we had going on, it wasn't going to work, right? We weren't taking in enough revenue. And the head guy took me off to the side afterwards and said, hey, don't take this wrong, but you'll never speak to the congregation again. Oh, it cracks me up. So that's the basic concept of accounts pyramid. It's about focusing on less, but getting more. Jacek, tell me a story, because I'm sure you have this, where you started focusing more on one of your 12 or 13 accounts that you got. And maybe it was a person that was doing 60 transactions a year and you only got 10, but you started paying more attention to them and you got 20. I mean, do you have a story like that?
Well, yeah, that's the first gal, Leslie. So she's anywhere, depending on the year, 40 to 60. I think she did like 65 transactions last year. Her and a small team, her and just an assistant. And so she was working with another lender at the time, which a friend of hers and everything. And I just kind of was there over and over and over again. And we grew, so I think I was talking to Jimmy earlier today, and he was saying, it's simple. Realtors do business with people they know, like, and trust. That's the only reason why they send you business, right? So I just basically got in there and we grew that, just became friends, did things that she liked to do. I remember one of the first things I did was like a walk, what do you call it? Like a fundraiser type of thing, like where you walk a certain amount and donate money and ask for money and all that stuff. Just started being invested in what she was interested in. And we just grew that from, just a couple of leads to a couple of deals to, last year we did, I think I counted up 15 deals last year together, and we're on track to do more than that this year.
Great. So that customer, just by paying more attention to them, you've doubled and tripled the amount of business you do together.
Yeah, and I do probably like, 60% of all of her buy sides, right?
Yeah.
So it's a big portion.
So guys, when we're talking about this, again, you can relate this to any business. There's not a business you can't relate this to. You can relate this to the grocery business. You can relate it. I relate it to dry cleaners. I related it to a church. You can relate it to a dentist. I mean, the list goes on and on. This concept applies. The problem is a lot of people aren't discerning, and they don't take the time to say, okay, where should my time and effort really be? Who's my ideal client? When my cell phone rings, like this is my test for on this subject, is someone calls me, if I don't want to answer the phone or I get a stomach ache, before I answer it, that's not an account. That's not someone you need to have that conversation. There was someone in my company recently, and one of the executives that oversees them said, hey, I don't think we can ever make you happy. And so why don't you find another place to work? And he was shocked. He's like, well, I do this much business. Yeah, but you're never happy. And so when you call me, I don't want to answer my cell phone. That tells me either we need to fix that or you need to find another place to work.
Right.
And he calls me a couple of weeks later and said, hey, I'm going to work somewhere else. I said, hey, sorry, it didn't work out, but I already knew the backstory. And it's okay. It's like life is too short just to hang on to someone because of revenue. And that's the concept there.
Well, and there's too much other opportunity too. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like we're so scarce that you can't find new relationships or new accounts.
Yeah.
I'm in a small area. I mean, very rural area. We have like less than 80,000 people in my whole county, right? We have about 30 realtors who, really produce. I mean, we have 50 that make a living out of it. There's still plenty of business to go around.
Yeah. Or, something else that's happening because of COVID. I think a lot of businesses are finding that they can expand their business into other areas.
Yeah.
And I'll use our business, but like we've got a gentleman that I was talking to him the other day, and he lives in California. And I'm like, hey, what are you up to? We're just chit chatting. He's like, well, I'm going back east. I'm going to Florida and the Carolinas for a week. And I said, oh, on vacation? He says, no, I'm seeing accounts. I'm like, accounts? He says, yeah, he speaks Ukrainian. And he's like, I got hooked up and I did a couple of deals out there. I'm licensed out there. I did a couple of deals. They referred me to other agents. Now I got like 10 accounts out there in those states, and I'm going to go see them. And I'm going to go see them every 6 months. I said, beautiful, right? So I think that I just wanted to shove that in there, that there's nothing stopping Jacek from doing business in Seattle. There's not. People are very used to Zoom and all that stuff. So I think that there's another component that's a recent component that a lot of businesses never thought of, right? Another concept. I was listening to Patrick Lencioni has a podcast, and he was talking about a similar topic. And the subject came up that, hey, what if I pour into all these people? And in his case, he was talking about pouring into your employees. But in this case, it's pouring into your accounts. And a lot of people don't do that. And he said this, and it made a lot of sense to me. He says a lot of people won't do it because they're afraid if they get close to someone, whether it's an employee or whether it's in a big account, that it hurts more when they leave. And what he said, which I agree with, is yes, that will happen. However, it may happen 10 or 20% of the time, not to 80%. There's a lot of accounts when you pour into them and you have these stronger relationships and better working relationship and truly care about each other, they will leave less often. So don't not do this because of the fear of loss. That would be like me as an employer not pouring into an employee because they might leave someday. Well, okay, but what if they leave in 10 years, but they skyrocket in 10 years and do great things? And look at me, they leave in 10 years, but always remember me as one of their best mentors.
Right.
That's a win. Right. The company won for 10 years, and the person, I grew someone and they had a better opportunity. That happens, right? It happens where, the 12 accounts that big accounts Jacek has, one of them's going to leave. It'll probably happen next year, but it happens. But it's not a reason not to do it. So Jacek, I'd love some comments from you on that subject.
Well, I mean, you have to take risk to get reward, right? So that's the biggest concept right there. If you don't ever try, you will never get it. So although it would suck to lose someone that you've grown in relationship with and things like that, I feel like you have to take the risk if you want to grow your business. That's the whole idea of being in relationship with people. And I mean, we're the type of business too that that's how we get business, is in relationship. We can't we're not like Walmart, we can't just like lower prices and get more business. That's just that's not our model. So you kind of have to take that risk.
Yeah, you got to take without risk, there's no reward, is what he's saying. And it's like love, it's like, it's hard when, think back into when you guys are all the dating, if you're married, and okay, how much do I risk my heart versus not? There comes a point where if you don't risk your heart, you're not going to fall in love. And it's a very obvious statement, but it's not always easy to do. And it's not always easy to do in business, to say, hey, I'm really going to pour into this person. I'm going to give them my all. And then they leave you. Happens sometimes, but you're gonna win more than you lose, and that's really the concept. One more concept before we break, because I'm changing the format of this in that I think an hour-long podcast is too long, so we shorten them to 30 minutes, and I think it'll work better. One more concept is around channel selling, and I'll tell you how this was explained to me. He's like, Todd, Kellogg's cornflakes doesn't sell cornflakes to your door. They take a big grocery chain and they sell them hundreds or thousands of boxes of cornflakes a month. And then the grocery store sells the cornflakes. That concept is called channel selling. And that's really what Accounts Pyramid is built on. We're trying to find super influential people that will help us grow our business, whether that's an attorney, whether you're an accountant, whether you're a mortgage guy, whether you're a dry cleaners, whether you're a church. We're trying to find those super influential people, and those people can explode us to other places. And that's the whole idea around this concept of pyramiding, is we're trying to get started with someone and bring them up the food chain if they're the right client, right? And they control a lot of business and they're an influential person. That's the whole concept, right? So, let's do some closing remarks and then we'll get out of here on time. Jacek, closing comments for you on this topic, because I think it's a great topic. And my biggest fear is that people will listen to this and like, yeah, sounds like a good idea, and never do it. Literally what we're asking you to do is to write down, hey, here's where all my business came in from this last year, and order them. If you don't want to use this form, just start and say, hey, I'm an accountant. Let my most billable hours, who is the biggest client, and let's rank them in descending order. And in most companies, you're going to find that 10 to 30% of your clients make up 70 or 80% of your revenue. And that's the basic concept, but you got to do the math. Otherwise, you're not going to get to the learning, because all the clients kind of blend together, right? After a while. So you got to take time out to do that. So Jacek, some closing comments from you.
Well, I think one of the things that one of the main points of the accounts pyramid is that you want to move them up, right? So when you write it all down and you know where you're at with the different levels, it's easy for you. It was easy for me when I started doing it to realize, oh, I thought I was getting more business from this person down here on the top 50 list, as opposed to my accounts list. I thought that they were an account. So it's also an indicator of where you're actually at versus where you feel you're at. And then also, it's good to work on those people. For one, you want to invest more time in the top ones, but the ones that you want to move up to the top, it shows you where they're really at. And so it lets you individually invest with those types of accounts, right? So moving them up the pyramid. And I think that that's what you talked about, that person with the business, is kind of what I aspire to do, what a lot of us aspire to do, where it's like, I don't want to have 100 relationships that I have to manage. I would rather make the same amount of money or close the same amount of business with a smaller amount of people, so that I can be tighter and in good relationship with them.
Yeah, exactly. Point on. I'm going to say a couple of closing comments. One is, share this episode with someone. If someone's a salesperson, send this to them. If someone's a business owner, send it to them. It'll really help them if they take the content and they do the exercise. it's a game changer. So share it with others. BeYourBest.com, BeYourBestSeries.com is the website. You can text it to someone. But my comment is it may seem a little different. I've had the pleasure of running several different businesses and coaching hundreds, maybe thousands. I know a lot of people that make seven-figure incomes. People like Jacek, not to make fun of him, but he's not the sharpest crayon in the box. I'm not the sharpest crayon in the box. And these people go from making 100 grand a year to seven-figure incomes or high six-figure incomes. It's about developing business skills. It's not about how good you are, how you were raised. It has nothing to do with what most people think it is. You take this one concept can take a business or a salesperson from maybe middle of the pack performer to top 5%, just because they know who to focus on. That's a business skill. You're not a better person because you found the accounts pyramid. You got a better skill on analyzing your client base. So same with saving money. Everyone thinks people that are rich are anointed by God and they're, have this special skill. They're not. They just learn how to save money every month. So what this whole podcast is about is developing those business skills, because that's what's going to get you bigger results, whether that's income, savings, working less, all those things that we all want. So that's the big idea. This is a business skill that you can put into practice. Most people could do this exercise in 30 minutes, but 99% of business people will not, because they're lazy and they're afraid to develop the skill, which is counterintuitive, but that's how most people operate. Take this information and actually do something with it and elevate yourself, elevate your business skills. Jacek, I want to say thank you for being on, bud. You're an awesome guest. I appreciate you, and you're a great man and a great people to learn from.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, guys, for being on. Bye, guys.
I just want to invest in people that really want to be the best that they can be.